Welcome back to the Alberta Prepper. Today, we're going to talk about how to figure out what you can do in life, as in what kind of work you could do or business. Now, for most of us, we all have it in our mind what we're going to be when we're little kids. Oh, yes, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a policeman. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. As time goes on, school teaches us many things. Sometimes it teaches us not so good things about ourselves. Things like we may not be that smart, or we are way too smart for this. We go to school, we learn things, and a good portion of it disappears into the ether. It's not because we're stupid, it's because to us it's not that important. What we forget in school, it was never that important to us in the first place. And that's the most important part to figure out. What is important to us? What do we need to do to figure out what is important? What's important is not what you do or how you do it, or it's figuring out what your personal limits are in being able to do something. Lots of people go out there and say, well, my guidance counselor said that, I'm really good with tools, so I should get into the trades. Great, get into the trades. But understand that you can have a very long day in the trades, anywhere from 10 to 16 hours, sometimes even longer, 18. I have friends who are in the trades that do 18-hour days. Some who do 10-hour days. Some who work 4 days on, 4 days off. Some who work 6 days on, 4 days off. Some who work 6 days and 2 days off. Is that the kind of lifestyle that you can handle? If so, there you go. Or are you a 9 to 5 type of person? Well, there are trades that can do that too. But most trades aren't going to be that way. If you're in the construction world, it's not going to be that way. In a lot of cases, there'll be a lot of moving around, going from town to town, working long hours, being far away from family and friends. If you're in the oil field, holy smokes, weeks, months away from family and friends. In little camps, away from civilization, and the only thing that you have is a PX, where you can get your little goodies for the day or for the week or whatever. Yeah, they feed you, they get you a place, you have a little bed that you can sleep in, stuff like that up at the camps. Maybe you want to be a lawyer. Long hours there. Are you able to do that? You can work as a McDonald's worker, go to McU, become a manager, become an owner. But whatever it is, you personally have to figure it out. Now, for a lot of people, they go straight from high school into college. I was one of those. I spent 3 years and thousands of dollars learning I hated it. I despised it with a passion. I was not very good at it. Not that I didn't get I wasn't passing. I was passing, but I wasn't like A's. I wasn't even B's. I was a C student in university. Do you know what that means? That means you're just average. You're nobody. In a world of degrees, being the average dude does not bode well. And especially when you find out that you don't enjoy the major that you took. So you spent thousands of dollars in a subject that you didn't enjoy. Funny part was, what I did enjoy were jobs where I learned something new that I never knew. Jobs I worked with my hands and jobs I worked with my mind. As I said in the early videos, I worked as a delivery driver for a paint company. But that wasn't my main job. My main job was working in the warehouse of that paint company. And I also worked mixing the paint at the paint company for automotive paint. I loved working there. I wasn't paid a lot of money, but it was literally 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. That was my day, and I loved it because that's what I was at that time. I realized that I loved being the average guy, running the forklift, working in the warehouse, mixing the paints, delivering them to the clients. And every morning I'd wake up, get on my bus, and do the 2-hour bus ride from my home to the paint place because there was no direct bus route there at the time. I still think there's not a direct bus route to that warehouse from where my apartment was. And I would take the bus, I should say, 2 hours. And I loved it. But I had a diploma for being a structural draftsman, a structural designer and draftsman. I hated that job, but I would do it because that's what I trained for, and I should get my job in that training. But I didn't enjoy it. I was a peon in the hierarchy because I was the lowest in the low in the totem pole. But being the lowest of the low in the totem pole at that warehouse was different because I was respected. I was respected by the senior management. I was respected by the junior guys. When I worked hard and did my job to the best of my ability, I was thanked for that. When I did that as a designer and draftsman, they go, oh, well, thank God you got it done in time. We got to get this thing out. Yeah, that's real motivating. The point is that what I realized then is what I was doing before I got that warehouse job was pining for a job that didn't give me joy, that didn't give me what I needed most, a sense of being, a sense of being part of something, a sense of accomplishment at the end of the day. And I didn't realize that for years until 2008 when I lost my last design job. Everything was going good, or I thought, until the firm lost a major project because of the downturn. And the downturn canceled the project. And they said, well, we have to let you go. Project's been canceled and we don't have any other thing else, so we're just going to let you go today. You're what? Well, we're letting you go. Was I doing good? Oh yeah, you were doing good. Didn't I do the job? Yeah, you did the job, but no, we don't have the room for you, so you should pack your stuff and go. At the time, I had a girlfriend, and I was living with her. And I was like, damn, how am I going to tell her this? So I got home after my hour and a bit drive, sat in the driveway for a bit, got out of the car, walked in, and said, I lost my job. I don't know what I'm going to do. I leaned back on my prior experience with that warehouse and all the jobs before that, working temporary work, which is even more like contract than anything else. And I gained something from that thing I didn't know I had. Not the sense of dread and fear, but the sense of purpose and mission. What was my mission? What was my purpose? I was to find a new position, and it didn't matter what it was, I was going to do it. So I ended up in the slaughterhouse, killing animals day after day, every morning, getting up, putting on my clothes, driving over, putting on my rubber boots, putting on my smock, and I'll leave the details out, but dispatching animals and then processing animals that we had dispatched weeks before into packages of ground beef, ground pork, pork chops, hamburgers, sausages. By the way, they were amazing, because that was the thing that they like to do, was give you free food. So I never had to bring my own lunch. Lunch was always provided, and so was dinner. And I'd work there from 7 a.m. till 4 or 5 p.m. every day. And I'd make good money. And one day, a local grocer said, I need help. I can't find any workers. I know that you work hard. Are you interested? And I go, well, I make X amount of dollars at the slaughterhouse. He goes, I'll pay $2 more per hour if you're willing to come and work for me. I said, sure. I will work for you for that time being. Because I knew the guy and I liked him. I said, sure. So I quit my job at the slaughterhouse and started working at the grocery store. And at that time, I had gotten married, and I knew that I wanted a family. And it was time to find a more suitable job as a father, as a soon-to-be father, as a soon-to-be husband, as a husband, and stuff like that. Not that being in the grocery was that. But I thought I knew I could do better, that I could make a lot more money. I had some knowledge, I had some talent. I'd worked in fields before, and there was a kitchen company, custom cabinet kitchen, that did the kind of stuff that I had done before. But they needed an estimator and a designer all in one. I said, sure. I'd done design before. I'd never estimated, but I've done design. And I'm more than happy to learn how to do estimating. So I started learning how to estimate kitchens. And from that, I learned every part of a kitchen. I learned every part of a bathroom, every part of anything that had cabinets in it. I learned it. I learned how to design. I even got out in the field and started building. I even went into the plant and started building. From that, I learned more techniques, more understanding, more skills, usable skills that I could go out and start marketing myself in more ways than just a designer and a drafts person. Now I was an estimator. I was a designer. I was a project coordinator. I was a project manager. I was a construction guy. I had, from the years before I went to school, I had 5 years of construction, of hands-on construction in my teenage years. I had over a decade of design and drafting, and I had a couple of years of estimating. And I saw this job, and we were having a baby, and I realized, oh, I'm going to need more money. So I started looking right away and found a job that said they needed a rodman. That's someone who puts rebar into concrete, basically. And I said, cool, I can do that. I did that when I was a teenager. It's not that hard of a thing. Walking on rebar, dropping it down, tying it, and all that stuff. I can do that in my sleep. So I offered my skills again, just like with the gravel job. When I was finished the interview, I had a strange feeling it wasn't for being a rodman, and it wasn't. They needed an estimator, and they also needed someone who had done design, because they had hired a structural designer and draftsperson who just didn't seem quite right. And they asked me to evaluate the work, the skill of this person. Well, with the knowledge and time that I had in that, of 10 plus years of that kind of work, I knew right away that they weren't skilled at all in that. I let them know, the management know, that, hey, no, this person has no clue what they're doing. And I showed them that I could do it in less time and more accurate. So they removed that person. They didn't put me in that position. What they did is they made me a project coordinator and an estimator for their ag and commercial projects. So all the estimating skill that I learned over that time at the cabinet place was now trying to be used for the construction. I never had that kind of knowledge, but I learned quickly. I followed their ways, learned new techniques of measuring and counting and all this and that. And in the end, I became a project estimator, a project coordinator, and a project manager. from just working and saying, yes, I'll do that. Not afraid that I was doing more work than I needed to. I was getting a salary. I was putting in 50 hours a week at the time, sometimes 60. I get to work at 6 in the morning and leave at 7 at night. But I learned things. I gained more skills. All of a sudden, companies are sniffing around looking for their own estimator, project coordinator, and project manager. Started asking me questions saying, hey, you interested? I'm pretty happy with this one. But the day that that company decided that they no longer needed my services, was I worried? No. Why? Because I had gained new skills and I knew that other companies were sniffing around. So all I had to do was pick up the phone and say, hey, do you still want me? Yeah. This is how much you owe me. Let's start. And that was it. As time went on, I learned new skills, new abilities for each company I went to. Now I work for another company. After the company that I worked for, that I moved to, went belly up. That's always fun. I phoned up some of my contacts. Not even a week afterwards, I was in a new job, making 10 grand more. Now I finally hit the level that I had dreamed about when I was in my mid 30s. By the time I was in my mid 40s, I had finally hit that dream, making good over 6 figures. Why? Because I had skills that everybody seemed to want. But it was because I said yes, even though it wasn't my job, even though it wasn't something that I trained for. And the funny part was, I find joy in the work that I do. I found what I like because I was willing to try different things. I didn't gain anything from school except for a debt, a small debt, but still debt, which was paid off fairly quickly. But all that knowledge that the school was supposed to gave me nothing. Because when I got out and I went to my first job, they go, well, that's nice that they taught you all that, but this is the real world and here's what we need to teach you. And it was way beyond anything that I learned at university and tech school. So when you don't know what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is if you don't try new things. Keep trying. Keep saying yes. Try new things. But always remember that you are a contract worker. You're not an employee. You're a contract worker. You may have an employee number, but again, that company is not loyal to you, just like they wouldn't be loyal to a contractor. So, again, understand that business is business, and your business is to learn skills to make yourself valuable to others. Alberta Prepper out.